Hi. So today's video is going to be about technology and how to be smart about it rather than let technology world take advantage of you. If you look like in the last since 2000 to present, I've been alive since 93, so let's say 2000 to present. Let's study what's been going on in the economy and the environment of technology. I don't really get into pointless stuff like speaker systems or flat screen TVs or too much of that stuff, but like you can get that, but like I think most people my age or people don't really need that stuff. Let's talk about what we did need. So number one thing about technology is research. You gotta do research about what you're getting in life. You can't not do research and get something good. So you'll usually almost always be scammed. And number two thing is good technology, I've noticed, is good in the long run. Like no matter how much time goes by, the thing still works. So that's good technology for you. But like for example, this cell phone still works, and it's from 2000 and it's already on. It's from 2000 and something. I don't know if you can see that, but still works flawlessly. I tried today to turn on the apps. It didn't work anymore because I think the apps are not supported, which is normal. But with all cell phones over time, apps are not supported. Like there's a YouTube app, Facebook app and stuff. The Wi-Fi doesn't connect. But hotspot did. I hotspotted this phone to this, and the Wi-Fi from the hotspot worked. I guess the Wi-Fi technology doesn't sync anymore with this / connect, but this still connects. So that's what's going on. So research is number one. Number 2 point is so number one is research. Number 2 point is just this. Look at that, Lucid. This is a music video with Usher, DJ Khaled, J Balvin, and they're saying Dintes. Why does this have to do with technology? Well, it has a lot to do with technology. I've noticed that technology in cars and everything is actually more affordable, and average technology is good enough, if not above average, for the cheap prices that they're available for the last 25 years. It's 24 years, sorry, since 2000. But people always go for the Western propaganda. Electric cars weren't even allowed to be sold until very recently. Already they're starting to advertise us $300,000 electric cars. This is what white people do. There's a Corolla, there's a Civic, there's a Chevrolet. They advertise us Cadillac, Rolls Royce, Porsche, Ferrari, to make us feel inferior. The problem with white people is they just own inferiority in everyone else. They basically know how to minimize you and just maximize themselves in front of us and oppress us. The Quran says anything that shows off to other people is a way of oppressing them. So you don't want to be in the mindset of using things white people use, like BMW or iPhones or Rolexes or Gucci, Prada or G-Wagons or Ranger. Like this white technology stuff, it's not really required, and it's not really even doing anything other than just taking up space. This stupid video that came out 6 months ago, freaking, it's so unbelievable, right? They wouldn't even let us have electric cars. They wouldn't even let us have it in the West. They banned it. And now that it's available, they're already advertising us the most out of reach electric car company, as if we need to somehow believe that's good, even though it probably is average at best, if not, even if it is above average. Like, you see my point? It's like, it's the most hypocritical thing in the whole planet. It's like they didn't let us have healthcare. Now that they do, they want us to go buy their expensive healthcare rather than have cheap healthcare. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. They don't do that with healthcare, but it's kind of the same idea. It's like they don't let us have a thing that's good for us, and they purposefully do that. And then when we can have it, they only advertise it to us in a way that as if we're inferior and we should be salivating over their expensive bullshit, and that's how they want to do it. I think Jewish people are behind this, and the white people. They're just trying to make everyone feel inferior through this technique of, that Wolf of Wall Street scene was selling me this pen. That's what they're doing here. So research is number one, and number two, inferiority complex. White people are trying to sell you inferiority complex and then sell you stuff after that. So they're trying to sell you that you're inferior because you don't have a Lucid, or you don't have an Apple, or you don't have anything that they sell you. And then if you go to a Sony headphones instead of like their $400 headphones, or if you go to a Honda Civic instead of their expensive cars, or if you go to anything else, Samsung, Motorola, well, not some Motorola, but some cheap phone instead of their iPhone, you're somehow inferior. This is their whole white supremacy bullshit. This is their whole problem. And that's why their woke mentality that exists in the world today and people's awareness and research is quickly disproving white people. But white people don't like to admit that they're wrong. They don't like to ever admit that they're inferior in any way. Then they would lose power in the world. And people would probably stop paying attention to their bullshit stuff. So another point about the last 24 years about technology is the tablet was made by other companies, not by who you think, not by iPad. iPad was made in 2010. You can go see for yourself. This is Windows XP being run on some 2002 tablet, okay? And they had other tablets that existed. Now, if you were to go and say, yeah, well, Apple does better apps and all that, sure. But what Apple was doing was copying everything else that already existed and doing it their way. So if we were to copy iPad and make it the Android way and make it improved, or the iPad and make it the Windows way and make it improved and make it cheaper, we're doing exactly what iPad did. But we don't get the credit for it. People just say iPad made it, Apple made it. It's not made by other people. But MP3 players were made by South Korea, I saw, in 97. Tablets existed, cell phones existed, smartphones existed, Windows Mobile HTC app-based like phones existed. This is, for example, one phone that came out way back when, 2000 and let me show you. I can't see it. What year is this? I don't even know what year it came out. When the hell does it come out? Let's go Google it. Either way, Windows Mobile, HTC, touchscreen and all. It came out in, come on, year man, come on. 2006 November. So iPhone famously came out in 07, right? This is a phone, has a camera and everything, has Wi-Fi, has apps. So these people, Wi-Fi right there. See, Wi-Fi. So these people, right, let's go to Apple. So 2006 November, so keep that in mind, okay? They came out in 2007. So who gets the credit for everything? The uglier phone companies do not, iPhone does. Look at that, 2007 June, okay? Now look at another phone that's a direct competitor to iPhone back then, LG product specifically. And this phone came out 2007 January. And look at how this phone looks like, okay? It doesn't have a Wi-Fi, but it has a capacitor touchscreen, which is very important. And then it has, look at this, the same kind of tile-based approach for cell phones. So why I'm telling you this? Why am I going through this hard of a work to explain the obvious? That cell phones made apps, cell phones had the widget, like the tiles that iPhone has. Cell phones had touchscreen, capacitive touchscreen. There's two types of touchscreens back then. Resistive, which is a complete flop. They usually use a pen, stylus to type. It's just not good. And the capacitive, which is what cell phones are using today, I believe. Its capacitive is like the one that they usually kept that was actually good. iPhones had a capacitive, and this LG product has a capacitive, which came out 6 months before. So all these cell phone companies, they're using various technologies, various types of situations, and succeeding to sell you the same thing an iPhone's selling you, right? But who gets the credit? The white people's supremacist machine phone gets the credit. Similar to Thomas Edison stealing all of Nikola Tesla's ideas and claiming he did everything when he never did shit. And Tesla's common, name today came from Nikola Tesla's name. It's a common electric car comparison. It came from Tesla, not from Edison. not the car, but electricity. So they're giving credibility to him, not to Edison whatsoever. They're not even mentioning Edison whatsoever. So Steve Jobs didn't make the iPad. Steve Jobs didn't make the iPhone. He didn't make MP3 players. He didn't make anything. He just copied someone else, and he made it seem like they're the first ones to make it. And why is that a problem? Why is that a crime against humanity? In my opinion, it takes away credit from people's actual hard work, who are actually developing the things the correct way, and it makes it seem like this is something that they invented, even though it's not that far off something that already exists. Meaning, they're just bamboozling everybody. And then they charge you the Apple tax, more money. They charge you for all the other accessories that cost more money. It's more impossible to use. The wires, the headphones, everything about their ecosystem is costly. Everything about the Apple store is costly. And they're making things that already exist. It's like they're selling you a light bulb, and they're selling their version 4 times more expensive, yet you're stupid enough to go buy it. That's what they're doing. So why am I saying all this today? Why is this relevant to today's information? What do we need this for today? Well, if a company keeps shamming you and they keep selling you something that isn't that expensive, it isn't that important, and it isn't even necessary to pay $200 for AirPods or goddamn $50, $60 for an iPhone charger, whatever it was back then. Now it's $40, I saw on their website. And I'm like, why are they charging all this money? Why are they doing this to people? Like, what's the point of buying this if they're going to do this to people? Well, I believe it's to uphold white supremacy. White people get to kind of arrogantly, snooty walk around because they have an Apple, so on and so forth. And people think this is more important, and it gives an air of confidence to people. I think it's wrong. I think it's a form of hate and oppression. I think it's a form of enabling a community of people who are known to steal from the world and make it about them, Caucasians. And then they come and tell us that they're still better by having iPhones. And then the rest of the morons in the world don't know that's what's happening and go get it. And that's what I think is really happening here. So why I say it's better today to kind of be aware to this and not buy their 4 times more expensive light bulb is you could, first of all, save money. Second of all, not be an asshole in public and use these things. And third of all, most importantly, stop falling in love with things that are going to hurt you and financially hurt you and psychologically whip you to their ecosystem, which is so impossible to use anyway. I had one of their phones back in the day. My dad got it for me, and it was a regrettable decision, and I had no choice because he bought it already and he didn't want to return it or something. It was final sale. I don't even ask. People thought I was a loser and stuff like that, but I was using Nokia. Like, Nokia's like this back in university. I'm a loser. I'm okay being a loser because at the time, people who they say are losers, over time are the ones who prove themselves to be functional. iPhone I used at the time, impossible. It hurt my eyes too. That was a big problem. But yeah, it was just a big issue. And I couldn't really get through with the phone at the time. And, you know, I can say more things about it, but why I'm saying today it's not useful is they've been pretty much pulling you along from the beginning with this lie that Steve Jobs is a great inventor when he isn't. And I mean, the audacity to be that much of a liar is fucking amazing. Good thing he died of cancer. People like him should die immediately. Bill Gates made all these amazing improvements in operating systems of Windows. All these other cell phone companies were making improvements. Steve Jobs came, stole the spotlight, and made a massively overpriced phone, and everyone has to buy it because apparently that's the only phone that people should be buying for their money and stuff like that. And you can go onwards and upwards and see why that's kind of a faulty mindset for business and a faulty mindset for people to look up to, I think. He used to compare himself to like Gandhi almost, like as a great man. I'm like, the great man is Bill Gates. He gave me a computer for cheap. This guy couldn't even make a proper computer. I used to use, when I was a kid, in grade 2 or 3, in my elementary school, St. Andrews, they used to use the library time to teach us computers. So we go to the library and we'd have some library time. We hated using the Macs. They had Macintosh, 4 of them, the colored ones. I can tell you how they look like. And this is what they used to look like. Okay. This, the iMac G3, I think it's called. But I don't even know what the hell it really is. All I know is it was this. It was different colors. I don't even entirely know what the situation is. with those, but they were so slow and they were so shit, and we basically got rid of them, and we replaced everything with Windows after. We had Windows predominantly before. We had four, like I said, Apple, and then everything else, like 20 computers almost, were Mac. I mean, it was Windows. We got rid of the goddamn Mac after that. So what I'm saying is, because of this retard Steve Jobs exists, sorry for saying retard, because of this arrogant, pompous piece of crap exists, he sells us his bullcrap computer. Windows is doing a stellar job. Remember Windows XP? I mean, that's stellar. Probably one of the best operating systems anyone's ever used. And then this guy is selling us bullcrap, and we got to keep using it and keep just not being able to use it well, struggling to get by using it. It's so difficult. It's so hard to just figure things out so easily on the Macs or iPhones or iPads. And then Windows is doing an easy job. Android is doing a perfect job for cheaper too. And we're still forced to go into believing this is somehow better for people. I don't know. It's just crazy to me. I think getting rid of Apple and companies like Apple and companies like this in the technology world is what you need to do. And yeah, that's my recommendation. White people are stupid and they always get beat in fighting because they do stupid things. And the fight of life and logic, iPad just doesn't. Apple doesn't make any sense. Apple. So let me tell you what else is going on in the technology world of things. So let me just look through if I have anything else to say about that. So they're already brainwashing us with the next electric car company, the next electric Apple, which is Lucid. Even Tesla is already kind of an Apple. They're all kind of an Apple. And now finally, just to show you that truth always wins, and I've been saying this a long time, Apple's not really worth the money, it's kind of annoying and stuff like that. So I'll tell you what it is about, right? So iPhone 15 and 15 Plus, which cost like $1,300 to $1,500 depending on which one you're getting in storage space, is now using Type-C USB chargers, which is what I actually used to charge. So I killed off one of my USB wires, I'm showing off here, to charge this phone, because it wouldn't charge from dead. Something's wrong with this phone, battery or something. So I took out the battery for this phone, I put on the terminals of the battery, and put that wire, the positive and negative, I taped it. You can actually do it to most old phones, even maybe modern phones. And I saw it on YouTube or something. And I saw on YouTube and basically learned to do it when I charge my phone. After I charge the battery, I put the battery in and it turned on and I start charging it with the charger. Now it works through the charger. I don't need to use a stupid technique. Either way, this used to be a Type-C USB. This used to be a Type-C USB wire. I cut off that portion and I killed this wire, whatever, it doesn't matter. The main point is, iPhone's now using Type-C. Remember all those times they wouldn't switch over to the more common sense USB wire, even though people don't understand why. They just ignored you. One eye closed department. Now they have. And now you can go buy a Type-C for goddamn $3, $1 and charge your iPhone. They could have done this since the beginning, like Android did and Windows Mobile did. My Windows Mobile phone that's broken and my Alcatel Android phones, all of them, either Type-C or Type-B, which is micro USB. Since 2000 and even this phone is micro USB, I believe, for the USB cable. Yes, micro USB. So my Alcatel and this and all the other phones I have are all the same cable, man. It's all the same. Great technology shit just came out. What the fuck? Anyway, sorry, I somehow broke this out of this somehow. It's fine. By accident. Anyway, lacking points of Apple and truth always wins. So I have a more appreciation now for Android, Windows, and even Microsoft Outlook. My mom on this phone, she has Apple ID and she doesn't know the password. We don't know even how to get it. Lacking points of Apple. So if I make a video on this, which I'm doing right now, because it's the only phone I have my mom's using that works, everything else is broken except for this Nokia. This is Sarika's. If I make a video on this and I want to send it to his laptop, I can't do it. I can't do it through Wi-Fi. I can't do it through USB wire, which we have. We have many of those. I can't do it through any means, even Google Drive. This thing is so limited and so unbelievably impossible without Apple ID. And we don't reset it because it's Sadiko's old phone. So we're basically stuck. And the USB wire moves after plugging into this. So when you put it into the computer, when you transfer the video, it stops and it says reconnected. Reconnects the USB. Just it's a loose connection somewhere inside this thing. The wire, I don't think is the issue. I think it's his phone. So it's just impossible to do this. But if you were to put an SD card on this thing and try to transfer things back and forth from the computer to SD card or whatever, you can do it easily. You can't do it on an iPhone. iTunes, same thing. You put on iTunes, you try to sync videos, you try to sync music, all that, impossible. But on this phone or any other phone that's Windows or Android based, or really any other common sense phone ever made that I've ever used in my life, even my Motorola Razr, all I have to do is plug it into USB, click on the friggin' file, music, videos, pictures, whatever, images, drag and drop, copy paste, that's all, very simple. iPhone made this stupid system convincing us it's better, something that was already simplified by the nature of the operating system of Windows, and they made it impossible to transfer pictures and videos from this phone to the computer. So much so, my mom still hasn't uploaded any pictures ever from this phone to her computer. She doesn't know how. So as a poor idiot, she keeps deleting things off this to keep the more important things and deleting everything off. Because this thing is so impossible. She has her own work laptop. She has this laptop. But she doesn't really know. She doesn't know how to troubleshoot this enough to be able to send things. So how do I upload these videos? I download the YouTube app, which is made by Google, from this app store, and which is already pre-installed on this phone. And it was deleted, but it's saved in iCloud. I don't even know why, but thank God it was. And after now, I can upload videos on this YouTube account. I put my YouTube account this and I upload videos that way and it actually does the job. But it would be much easier if I could just do the simple wire transfer USB to the USB port on a computer, copy and paste and upload it myself on a computer. Just everything Apple does, everything is unnecessary and a waste of time and not simplified for the technology world we live in today. It just seems very stupid that we're still stuck in this stupid system that is supposed to be smartphones somehow. It's not a smartphone thing. It feels like a trouble phone rather than a smartphone. Yet people live in the lies of Apple rather than reality. So I believe in good business and Windows and all these Xiaomi companies that I advertise. Xiaomi Mi A2, I think I mentioned in the previous video, the cell phone, they're good business. They're using good interface, easy to use interface, everything. People can seamlessly use that phone and not do what this phone's doing and transfer pictures, transfer videos, like the crucial things you need a cell phone for. It can be done. This phone, we're still stuck in 1950 apparently. You know what I mean? Even a digital camera from like 2005 has a memory card in it. You take pictures, you put the memory card in, bada boom, bada bang. So people talk about money or being poor or being anything. I think they're a bunch of idiots. You know, Tamils today have the ability in Toronto to make money. But if you notice what Tamils are buying, it's just what white people think are good. The white people technologies, mostly. Some Tamils are still buying Toyotas and Hondas and smart things. A lot of Tamils aren't. And they can't win a war against Sinhalese people. So maybe they're losers and they go out to loser things for attention and glorification of self. And I'm telling you how to live the correct way and win successfully in these otherwise more complicated life problems that you get. Like, let me tell you how complicated life is. I have a SIM card and I can't put it in this phone. You know why? Because this takes a full SIM. Mine's the smallest SIM, the nano SIM, whatever it's called. And I don't have that rest of the SIM, so I can't put it in. That's a real problem. So I have to go buy a SIM card now just to put in this phone if I want to use it, which I'm not going to, but I just want to see if it works. But with iPhone, you can't even put an SD card into the phone. You can't even put a memory card. It's like you're stuck in that goddamn world. You're forced. You can't get out of it. It's so insane. So anyway, technology with Apple is overrated. It's over-exaggerated how good it is, and it isn't even good for the money you're spending. And it isn't even good even if you bought it for cheap. That's my point. Even if an iPhone wasn't $1,300 like it is for 15, or 15 plus $1,500, even if it was $400, you compare it to the Android and how easy that is, and you compare it to how easy to use all the stuff Android offers, Gmail, YouTube, Google Drive, and plug it into your computer to the wire, and then transfer stuff. Why would you get the Apple version? Like, what do they actually offer over the seamless transition ability of Windows and Android products? Nothing. So people who are stupid, like these stupid bimbos, apparently like my sister, No offense to her, I love her, but she's dead. You know, there's being bamboozled. Girls are stupid and they're fucking ridiculous. I think they want to be figured out through nonsense and complication in life and look smart and look cool rather than actually be wise. So get a good looking Android phone if you really like the appeal of how Apple is and stuff, because I think that's the only thing Apple has going for itself, which is what we'll get into now. So I looked at iPod Nanos. My sister has 2 of them. I looked at Apple phones. I looked at everything. You know, I was like, what do they actually do in the last 25 years well? To be honest, they have a good feel in the hand, whereas this doesn't. It's very compact. It's very like slim. It's very weighted. It's very balanced weighted too. It's very like dense feeling. It feels like holding a piece of gold nugget. You know those gold ounces? Like they sell you, it's like flat. I can show you what I'm talking about. This thing. You know these things? Like this? It feels like one of these. Okay? If you've ever held any of those, or if you see the point I'm trying to make, it feels important, but it isn't. It feels important. It feels like something that's valuable. But feeling invaluable and actually being a good technology item are 2 different things. Because my Sony camera is not perfectly balanced like an iPhone is, but it's way better at what it does than an iPhone does. And so is this Nokia, and so is this Casio watch. A lot of things in life are better just because they do the job well, not because they feel good or look good or are advertised as good. You see my point? But that feeling of weightedness and a feeling of balance and the curved nature or even the flat nature of the iPhone 4S back in the day. Now the new iPhone 15 is also flat on the sides. This iPhone 8 Plus is curved, or whatever this phone is. I don't even know what it is. I think it's 8 Plus or 8, one of those 7 ones. This complete back side of the phone is smashed and glass is completely cracked. We have a case on it. That's one reason the glass is even staying on it. We haven't fixed it because my sister, so we didn't want to. The point is, technology with Apple is always behind, and now it's proven by it switching to Type-C, and people still flock to it. And you can see the freaking results. And yeah, so it speaks for itself that iPhone is kind of just scamming all you guys, and you guys keep going after it. And now that the truth is finally here, that we win. Type-C is finally here on Apple, and you can see how much of a difference it's going to make for the Apple world. The ability for Apple to use some common sense approach to computing and to smartphones and to their whole ecosystem is going to be life-changing for people who are using Apple. But Apple did not give this to you until right now, which is 2007 to 2024, is 17 years on the market. They clearly don't care about you guys, man. So that's a word of advice for technology. The number 3 advice I would give for technology: return policy. Always use a return policy. On a lot of smartphones I bought, which I was sold and advertised, I wish I returned it. One of the smartphones I bought, I couldn't return. I was on Amazon, on China, eBay. I bought it from China, no return policy. I thought it was a good phone. It gets me to this point. This phone. It was this phone's older brother or sister, whatever you call it. It was an E72. So I had an E71 and it was great. And because I'm an idiot, I want to buy the E72 at the same time when I had the E71 because I thought it was better, had a better camera. So I did. I said no returns, and I thought, I already have the E71. It's great. How bad could the E72 be? So I bought it. It was shit. It was a newer operating system, and it was so slow. It was planned obsolescence phones at this point. Even though it had a great technology, a great camera, it was way better looking than any other phone I ever used. It was amazing. The E72 was garbage. It was in grade 12 when I was in high school. I bought it. My mom bought it for me. It was this. Such a beautiful phone. It was like, the back was chrome metal and stuff like that. This was actually metal. It was great. It was really, really great. Like, you wouldn't even believe how cool it was. It was so many things I couldn't explain. It had a flashlight at the back. The centerpiece thing glows. This one does too, but that was a little bit cooler. It was so cool. There was so many cool things about it, but end of the day, it was not good. The E71 was better. And I actually went back to E71 and I sold E72 one. Because you did some other fucking sucker. Sorry for swearing, but end of the day, I didn't like it. So if I had a return policy on that phone, I immediately figured that out, by the way. I immediately figured out after owning it for a couple of days on this phone's shit. But I couldn't return it. So the return policy is number 3. So technology is always research, number 1. Number 2, I forget what the point was. And number 3, return policy. So always have a return policy. And my other advice with Apple is, now that you know MP3 players and other things are much cheaper, well, no one uses MP3 players now, but whatever you're buying, Apple's doing the shittier version. Always go for the more quality item. And if you do want something good looking, look for something good looking. Like if you want a good looking phone because you're an idiot, sure. But when I buy a Sony digital camera, when I buy a Handycam, which by the way nowadays Handycams are very useful, considering the violence is going up in streets and stuff. You could buy Vivitar. I saw on Best Buy Handycam 4K. You know, you have charger, everything, SD card. Buy it for $200. Learn to use that thing. That's having evidence in this life is how you keep the sociopaths and psychopaths of this fucking world in check. These Tamil kids come and tell girls they're gonna rape them and they'll kill their mom and stuff. Keep it on recording. You know what's better than cell phones? Those freaking 4K handycams. So get those. $200 goes a long way. You can keep those things on for a whole week recording your room and keep it hidden and stuff. They pick up everything. They're great. Buy those. Those are good technology to buy, not these stupid iPhones. So I saw it on Best Buy. It was like $200 for like 4K. It takes a 256 gig SSD, I think even more. SD card. It was great. And I was like, man, there's a lot more expensive handycams for Sony for like $1,000. But this is only $200. I would take my chances with it. Try it out, see if it's good or not. And you have an ability to frame people for what they're doing. Cameras is all you need with voice recording, excuse me. So that's my recommendation of that. So next point after that is compact feel of iPhones and stuff. That's a big one. So the iPod Nano and all that stuff, right? I had my own MP3 player, SanDisk, back in the day. I got it for like $60. It was refurbished, but it was $60. And probably brand new would have been a couple, maybe $30, $40 more. It wasn't much more than that, I don't think. Let's say it was $100. And at that time, iPod Nano was expensive. It was a lot more than $100. I don't think it was even $100. I don't know how much it was. But my SanDisk Sansa it was called. I had it in high school. I gave it to my Vas to take to India. Could put SD cards inside the side. You don't even have to put anything on the thing. You can put it on your SD card, a micro SD. You put it in, bada boom, bada bang, and you have music. Whereas with iPod Nano, you can't do that. iPod Shuffle, you can't do that. You gotta go through iTunes. And even if you did go through iTunes, what the hell do you get in the end? A shuffle function? What do you get on iPod that's so important? Not really much. And if people say you're getting much more, I don't think so. I think it's very, very, very over-marketed. I don't think it's actually really better. My sister had 2 iPod Nanos. They were both shit. They were just bullcrap. And the wheels started breaking too. Hers or someone else's, a wheel that you spin on, it broke. So it was just stupid. And the compact feel of the thing was so nice. Even when it was falling apart, the thing still felt compact, but it was shit. It feels like it's engineered well, but it isn't. That's what it is. It feels like it in your hand, like, oh, it feels like it's good technology, but it's a deception. It isn't actually holding value over time. And all these other things we bought from Sony and SanDisk and Nokia are still working. So iPhone is a lot of deception. Apple is a lot of deception, I should say. They make it seem like it's a good product, but it really doesn't hold up its value over time. So why is it even good? It isn't. So that's my point with that. What feels good and looks good isn't always good, and that's definitely what Apple is. What else can I tell you? So iPod Nano, or whatever, Nano, Shuffle, iPod Video, I'll rip off. So return policy is always good and needed with technology. Chatter also scammed me pretty good. They charge me $25 to restock their cell phones I buy. It's restocking fee, they call it. I always just scam with these technology companies. They make me buy something that I don't even know what I'm getting. After I get it, I know what I'm getting. And by that point, it's too late to go back in time sometimes. But sometimes it is. And when you can use that, don't abuse it, I would say. Make your most best approach, And with cell phone companies and also technology, I noticed it takes time to iron out the kinks. The best Nokia phone I ever had was a Nokia E71. And it had Nokia E61 before, E61i, and then E71. So they basically, E61, E61, E71. Look it up. E61, E61i. There are 2 different ones. E61 and then E61i. They actually reformed the phone over and over and over to get the E71. And same thing could be said about AK-47 and even Honda Civics and Toyota Corollas. They keep modifying them little by little over the time of the generation they make the car. So in 2000, let's say they started with the Toyota Corolla. By 2006, they modified the car slightly, but it's still the same car, predominantly same engine, trim, everything. But a lot of things have been changed to make the car better. So you're getting a more refined version. So that's the answer to technology and cars and stuff. Get the more refined thing. Because when companies come up with stuff, sometimes it's not always the best in the beginning. Sometimes it is, but most of the time it isn't. If they ever refine the product, they kick out, get Iron of the Kings, you get your money's worth for it. And that's the smartest thing I've ever seen anyone do. Because if you get those stupid things they made you in the beginning, you're the loser. Because they made something that's trial and error, and when you try it out and see where the product's really going to land in the end and what the problems are, it's too late by then. It's already off the market. It's already off the product, product floor. It's already been sold. But, it's not on the shelves anymore. People are using it. So that's why it kind of sucks in this world. So people have to kind of learn the hard way before we can see what the situation really is with stuff. The last point I'd like to make about all this is you don't watch screens when you eat. I think that's what people are doing now. They're really distracted by cell phones and all this stuff and laptops, and they eat and they lose sense of self. Don't do it. The other point is SSD, hard drives. Any post 2007 laptop are big wins. So SSD is a hard drive thing. It's pretty good. It's one of the best things they made, other in technology world of things. And SSD, we have a lot of laptops I've used since back then. Sony, Lenovo, HP, Dell. SSD is the #1 technology advancement in laptops or computers I've seen, pretty much. That'll make a world of difference for you owning a computer. You can get a 2007 laptop with SSD in it with Windows or whatever the hell you're running, Windows, don't run Apple, and it'll fly. It'll fly like it never would have otherwise. SSD is crazy good. Like, it's amazing. So look into keeping your old laptops and computers. Well, not too old, but especially laptops, because they're so well made back then. Nowadays they're plastic and garbage, but back then they were good. So get those. Lenovo ThinkPad obviously is great. China is making the best laptops known to the mankind that I know of. Handycam with, like I said, Handycam with SSD proves a lot of these black towels and what they're doing to girls. Have it installed. Don't make any excuses. Don't be afraid of the power. Put them in jail. You don't live in goddamn Sri Lanka anymore. You live in goddamn friggin' what's the other place? India. You live here. You live in New Zealand. You live in Australia, Malaysia. They don't have any power. All they need is something to fuck and go back to hellfire with. You don't need to be the one. Don't be stupid. Up your value and don't do that kind of stuff. The last point of advice I want to give is these curved monitors. This technology point that they make. This curved monitor, Dell 32-inch, 34-inch, whatever the inch you were looking for. I tried at York University. It is the best goddamn monitor I've ever used in my life. This is $199 Canadian. I use it for 15, 20, 12 hours a day, right? And I'm telling you, it's not, you can't tell it's curved, but it is. And it's the greatest laptop computer solve I've ever seen. It's like this. It's curved. It's significantly curved. Like, significantly. You can see here. It's significantly curved. And these curved goddamn monitors, right? It takes off all the eye strain of using computers. So if you have a laptop, you have an HDMI cable port, plug it into that thing, use that instead. It's better for your eyes. I use that thing for, like I said, 15 hours. Felt no eye strain. When I went back to laptop screens and I went back to the normal laptop world, my God, my eyes hurt. Hurt like a motherfucker. So that's the world of technology that I have advice to give. SSD, laptop screens, return policy, Apple shit. Android's the best since 2010. Ever since Nokia was falling away from the app scene, and Apple and Android and came onto the scene, Android's been the #1 thing. Android's been better. Whatever phone you get a good one, but Android's been the king. Gmail's better. Outlook is shit. Not Outlook. Apple is shit. Outlook is pretty good. Even Windows was better in some respect back then. Windows when it was there. Android's great. Android's great. It's been great. Google's probably going to be around for a long time. I don't see it going away unless something new comes. We'll see when that day comes, but so far Google's great. I will put some technology pieces into this YouTube video description that you should look into and see what I'm talking about. So I'll put all the things that I mentioned, and yeah, that should be good for that. So stay away from Apple, man. If you want something important, you want to look cool, and you're a girl who's a low self-esteem moron, looking to use a Mac or you're looking to use any of that stuff, I don't know, man. Just remember, they made that shit for white bitches because they're stupid. And white people want something to make themselves feel important in this world, I think. Anyway, so that's what it's about. Hopefully this helps. And how come white supremacy only applies to Apple when Windows and Android and Apple and Google and all that stuff is also made by white people? Kind of stupid, right? Elitism is a real thing in the world. Stay away from it. I think it's a toxic thing, and I don't think it actually helps your life. I don't think it's actually good technology. I don't think you're getting your money for it. I don't think you should spend your time and effort and mind space and your spirit trying to figure this Apple game out. I think it's a failure game since the beginning, on their computers, on their iPads, on their iPhones, on their everything. And I'm never wrong about this stuff. I'm literally the person who said when Google came out with it, I said Google's one people should go for. Do not go for this goddamn iPhone. And I've been proven correct. And now that they have Type-C and everything else, you can see Apple's kind of moving the direction of everyone else because everyone else has more power because people can't just keep up with Apple anymore. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's all.